Hey everybody, welcome to This Pink Cloud. I am DJ Kelly Reverb. We are a show that is about multiple pathways to recovery, mental health, all that good stuff. Excited to have this young lady here. I know she just celebrated 1 year sober, which is huge. Everybody give it up for my guest, Jordan Nickal. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I am good. So I saw your random post on Instagram, and you said something about like a year sober, and I'm like, oh, yay! I mean, because that's a big deal,
Yeah.
and just not to spoiler alert, but you're a bartender as well. So I want to get into that. But before we get into that, I want to hear, because you and I were talking on the phone and it was pretty fascinating stuff. It's like you've already lived 3 lives and you're like mid-20s. So let's hear a little bit of history, and then we can get into, the reason why you stopped drinking and then pros and cons and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I guess where to start? So, long story short, I originally went to college on a rowing scholarship. So I've always been an athlete. My parents are both coaches. All my siblings were all into sports.
All right. So rowing scholarship where?
University of Central Oklahoma. So it's
Okay.
a D2 school in Edmond, Oklahoma.
Now, are you from Dallas originally, or where are you from?
I went to high school in Allen, Texas. So I went to Allen High School. Yeah,
all right.
Class of 2016.
There you go. Holla.
Yeah. So I grew up in DFW, did middle school, high school in DFW, grew up here, had the opportunity to go row in college. My goal eventually was to go to like OSU or something for vet school. So I was actually like pretty heavy into the animals originally. So like I showed livestock. I was an FFA. I was in a vet tech program. So like I worked as a vet tech at the age of 16.
And FFA is Future Farmers of America.
Future Farmers of America.
For those that don't know.
Yeah, I have to remind myself it's not a common thing that people do.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah, FAA.
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, the FFA. Right? Yeah. So so I had like pigs, goats, cows, the whole shebang. Went to stock shows, and then I worked at a large animal vet clinic as a vet tech for a couple of years, and graduated, went to University of Central Oklahoma. Did not love it.
Okay.
I was working as a vet tech, also like full-time student athlete. So I was originally getting my bachelor's in biology and biomedical sciences with like a minor in chem.
Okay.
And then also
that sounds busy.
Yeah, I was not, I wasn't having the best time. I also like, your freshman year of college, like you party a lot, you're trying to like make all these friends do these things. And I had like no like balance to my life. So I just became like very unhappy, very overworked, decided that rowing and maybe college was not for me because I decided that I didn't want to go to vet school anymore. I decided it wasn't the lifestyle that I wanted when I grew up. And it was just like a very like crazy thing for me to decide that because I'd wanted to be a veterinarian since I was like 5. So without telling anyone, I called the school over Christmas break, or right when break started, unenrolled. I packed up my dorm room and I drove to Kentucky, which was where my parents had moved to at the time.
Right.
And I got home and I was like, hey, Mom and Dad, I unenrolled from college and I'm not going back. I dropped off the team and I dropped off school.
Just all of a sudden, oh, by the way, surprise.
Right. And both my parents are actually teachers and
I'm sure they took well to that.
Yeah,
I'm quitting school, by the way.
Yeah, they were not happy about it. And they were like, okay, well, you want to be a big girl and make big girl decisions. That's on you.
Right, yeah.
They're like, go find yourself a job in an apartment then, since you don't want to be in school.
Sure.
And so that night, it's the day I had driven to Kentucky. So like a 9-hour drive later, got to Kentucky, told my parents, and they were like, yeah, you need to go find a job. So that night I got on my computer, was looking at jobs, and saw a job opportunity on Facebook to go work for 2 horse trainers in right outside of Melbourne, Australia.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh, I'll do that. I've always wanted to go to Australia.
Right.
So I was like 19 years old, messaged
Makes
the people.
perfect sense, right?
Yep, exactly. I was like 19, sent them a little email, and I was like, hey, here's my history of like working with livestock and large animals. And I was like, I'd love to come work for you and have the opportunity. Within 24 hours, they responded to me, offered me the position, and within a week, I flew out to Australia.
Wow.
So, yeah, so I was out there for a year.
So,
yeah,
you went from rowing and then just a cold stop, and then all of a sudden this opportunity pops up to go and be a horse trainer, right?
So basically what I was doing for them is I wasn't necessarily training the horses, but I was like managing their entire property and all the horses on the property, dealing with clients. So like scheduling times for clients to come in for the 2 horse trainers, also like scheduling out like seminars and like clinics that they were putting on in like different parts of Australia. So I'd be like booking the flights or booking the venues, helping manage that stuff. And then when people came on like our property to like, they would also put clinics onto the property. My thing was to like set the property up and make sure things were running smoothly. If I had to go get food for everyone, get food, or like cater the place. And so I kind of just like, again, a property manager in a sense is what I was really, property/business manager is what I was doing.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Yeah. So, and I mean, I also like mucked the stalls and fed the horses. So like all the
bonus.
So I did all the hard labor, but also I had to do all the like actual business side of things too for them.
Oh, okay. Wow. So you were just like a jack of all trades there.
Yeah, I was a little worker bee over there. Yeah. So so I was there for a full year, and while I was there,
what part of did you say Melbourne?
So I was right outside of Melbourne. So I was in a real small town called Drysdale.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of like you got like Melbourne, which is like the big city. Then you got Geelong, which is like a semi-bigger city, or semi-smaller city.
I think, no offense to Australia, but they have like 4 major cities, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, so then like right outside is like Geelong, which is like a smaller-ish city, and then Drysdale is like the little itty-bitty town, like past that. Okay. So it's a little country town.
Right.
So, but yeah, so I worked for them for a year and made tons of friends while I was there. Got to do a lot of really cool experiences and just, I was 19. The legal drinking age was 18, so I was going out. I got to experience clubbing from a very young age,
right?
In a foreign country, which was honestly a lot of fun. It's probably a lot more fun than the average like 21-year-old experience in the United States.
Oh, for sure.
So that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that quite a bit. When the year was up, I decided to move back to the States, and then I actually moved to Arizona and lived with my aunt, she's a horse trainer.
Okay.
And from there, I actually started training horses with her. So she took the time to really start teaching me and like educating me on like how to like start horses out and how to fix problems that horses have. So kind of the whole shebang. Did that with her for a couple months. And then we got on the road and we were putting on horse training clinics throughout the United States. We were going up the coast of California, up to Washington, and then like down through like Wyoming back to Arizona was kind of like the path we were going on. And so we were like hauling like a 50-foot horse trailer with our horses all the way from Arizona up the coast, stopping along the beach, doing fun things, teaching people and helping people out with like issues they had with their own personal horses. And then we ended up in DuBois, Wyoming for a clinic. And while I was there, I met one of my aunt's friends who was a horse trainer that she taught and like taught her kind of everything she knew and became really good friends with her. And while I was there, I was like, wow, this place is beautiful. I was like, Wyoming is absolutely stunning in the summer. I was like, DuBois is just really, really cool. And so I kind of had like a pull to stay there and to not go back to Arizona. Okay. And so I had never met this girl before. And I was just like, hey, can I like live with you and not go baback to Arizona for a couple months?
Right.
And she was like, yeah, of course.
And you just randomly met her on a stop.
Yeah, I met her because we were doing. She was hosting the clinic that my aunt was putting on.
Wow. Okay.
And so I ended up meeting her. Her name's Lindsay. She's one of my closest friends now.
This is a nice looking spot. Hey, do you mind if I stay?
I was like, this is beautiful. I was like, you live a really cool life here, and like DuBois is right outside of Jackson Hole, so it's also a very small town.
Oh yeah.
But in the summer it grows because all the people are coming out there to the dude ranches and doing different things and going fly fishing. Yeah. Exactly. And so she just like let me with me and my daughter, she like just let me stay with her and was living with her and her boyfriend at the time, and I was helping her out with all of her clients and their horses. So we were training like endurance Arabian stallions that were bred for like 100-mile races. We were like going out into the mountains to like Yes, we'd go out into the mountains for like 8 hours with these horses, going on like long trail rides.
And the Arabian horses are big boys, right?
So they're not necessarily, they can be, they're more of like they're really fast though. They're like they're considered like a really flighty breed. So they're like really fast and like really agile. And so riding them up on the mountains and then being stallions, I would have to say it's probably the scariest things I've ever done in my life, but like some of the most fun things I've ever done in my life.
That's like wear a helmet kind of thing, for sure.
Like I would be terrified every single time I went out, but then I'd get home and I'd be like, oh, let's do it again. And I'm like,
yeah.
You know, like it was so much fun.
Like like God's roller coaster.
Exactly. So I stayed with her for a couple months, training horses with her and helping out. And then I went back to Arizona for a year, and I worked for a performance horse trainer there who did reining, which is a style of Western show.
Okay.
So I worked for her for almost a year in Arizona, because I was like, you know what, I'm going to be a horse trainer. That's what I told myself. And all this is going on, I started doing my associates online in business. So I was just trying to finish my associates.
Okay.
But because I told my family, I was like, well, at least do my associates. But I thought kind of I wasn't going to go back to school. So I was like, I'm going to train horses. That's going to be my career. I like it. I'm good at it.
Right.
And then did it for another year.
Were they the driving force behind you? Well, at least get your degree online.
Yeah, I would say my parents weren't super fond of the idea of me horse training. They were just like, go to school, go to school, go to school. And I already, you know, so I was like, well, I'll make a compromise. I'll start my associates online while I'm training horses. And so I was doing that. And then while I was in Arizona, I kind of just started waking up and not loving it. I was like, man, I don't really like working with animals as a job. Like, I don't really like that being my sense of like source of income. It's like I felt like it started taking like my love for it out of it. And so
once you do something for a job, then it just kind of like, oh, I have to do this instead of wanting to do this now.
Exactly. It became like very daunting every day doing it. And it was just like such a tedious task at one point. And like I remember waking up one day and being like, I love horses, but I don't love them right now.
Right. You know? I can take a breather. Yeah. But they need you.
Exactly. And so then ironically, around that time, my older brother ended up giving me a call, and he was like, hey, I just bought a house. He was living in Pennsylvania. Okay. And he was like, hey, I just bought a house up here in PA. I'm going to be traveling a lot this next year because he's a professional athlete. He was competing. And so I was going
to say, do you want to name drop your bro?
Yeah. So my brother, his name is Jordan Nickal. He is a 3-time national champ, 4-time All-American out of Penn State. He's a wrestler. And then he is now currently fighting in the UFC. Yeah. So...
Awesome. I did a little research on him. I do not want to mess with him.
Yeah, he's probably like my biggest inspiration, and just like awesome. He's a phenomenal person, and a phenomenal big brother, but he's also just like a great work ethic, and he's been very successful because of how much time he's put into what he does. You know?
Well, how old is your brother now?
He actually turns 30 tomorrow.
Oh, okay. So he's your older brother then.
Yeah, he's my older brother. Gotcha. He's about a year and 2 months older than me.
Right. So anybody that tries to date you has to go through him.
I think they should be more afraid of my little sister than my brother. But
oh, really? Okay. All right.
My brother might be a little bit nicer than her.
That's funny.
But so he had given me a call though and was like, I'm going to be traveling a lot. Do you want to move up into my house and help me take care of it? Help me take care of my dog while I'm traveling. Like, you obviously like don't have to pay rent. Just like live up here for a little bit. Like, I help you out, you help me out. And it's funny because we weren't super close when we were younger because we were so close in age. I feel like at that point in time, like, you're just like not friends with your sibling, especially if you're a boy and a girl. I was like, he was like, oh, that's my lame little sister. And I was like, oh, that's my lame older brother. Like, I don't, you know, and then, so then he asked me to move in and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I actually would. And so I ended up moving up there, and best decision I ever made because I'm super thankful he offered it because we got super close over that time. I had the opportunity to become really close with his now wife, who was his girlfriend.
Right. And what year was this about?
This would have been 2019.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, right around 2019. So, got to like become really good friends with my sister-in-law. I'm really good. I'm super close with her entire family who's from Pittsburgh. Okay. I was finishing my associates online at the time, working at a fresh pressed juice shop. And then I was also nannying. So I kind of took a break from the horses. Okay. And then, but I had a friend who had property, or a friend whose sister had property out there. And I went out riding with them, got into a little accident. My saddle broke and I fell off one of the horses.
Oh, wow.
Got hurt, woke up the next day, couldn't turn my head to the right. And I was like, called up my brother who was out of town. And I was like, hey, do you have a chiropractor that you use? Because like, I hurt myself. And so he sent me to his chiropractor. I went to go see his chiropractor, was talking to him a little bit, and I had told him, I was like, yeah, like when I was originally going to school, I want to go to vet school, and I actually was interested in doing animal chiropractic, like while in vet school. I was like, but I'm not doing that anymore. And he was like, did you ever consider like doing chiropractic for people? Because like
Right.
you can do chiropractic for people and animals at the same time. Then
Yeah.
you just go to chiropractic, go get your doctorate, get certified with people, and he goes, and then you can go do a certification for animals after the fact.
Yeah.
And I was like, I never knew about that.
I always see the dog reels, the adjusting.
Exactly. And so at that time I was like, brain started spinning, started thinking, went and started researching chiropractic schools, saw there was one in Dallas. And I was like, I liked Dallas when I grew up there. And I was like, it'd be kind of cool to go back as an adult because I hadn't been there since I was like 19. And so I researched it, applied, talked to my brother about it actually a little bit just to get his opinion on it. He was like, hey, whatever you want to do, like I support you. So he was a good push, like a really good push factor in like my trajectory of like where I'm at now.
Right.
And so ended up applying for Parker University, got accepted, and then I was like, okay guys, going to Dallas now, I'm gonna go start this program.
Right.
And because I hadn't finished my bachelor's yet, I actually started the pre-doctorate program at Parker to finish my bachelor's. And so I moved end of 2020 down back to Dallas, and that's actually when I started my bartending journey. I needed a way to pay for my cost of living while also being able to like be a full-time student. And
so where did you start? Yeah.
Buffalo Wild Wings.
There we go. Hey,
the good old B-dubs.
Yeah.
So that was my first in Irving, Texas. That was my first bartending job. I was serving at the time, and
I'm sure it's busy there too.
It was, and it's funny. Ironically, all the bartenders either quit or were fired within the same week, and I had only been there for like a month, and the managers came up to me and they were like, "You seem smart. We're gonna put you behind the bar."
Right.
And I was like, oh gosh, I don't know. So I was literally like watching YouTube videos trying to figure out how to bartend. I was like reading ingredient lists like off my phone or like printing them off like behind the bar.
And you had your cheat sheet on your phone.
I did. Because I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't know how to shake any shaker tins. I didn't know anything.
Right.
And at the time I would have been like 23.
Right.
So I just didn't know anything about it. And then from there kind of slowly progressed to like other places. So I went to a Bar Louie at one point, but I mainly served there. Then I went to Texas Live out in Arlington, and I was there for almost 3 years bartending. And if you want to talk high volume bartending, that is high volume bartending. So I mean, you're getting so many people from like the Rangers game, the Cowboys game, when the Rangers won the World Series, that was probably the longest shift in my life, but I made like $1,700.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, like I've made more than my rent in a day.
Yeah.
So when I was there though, I was like partying a ton. I'd make $1,000. I go spend $500.
Well, I mean, hell, the Rangers won, and I mean, everybody's like, "You gotta do a shot." Yeah.
And I guess like what kind of ties into like some decisions I ended up making when it came to like drinking actually was like my journey of like getting into the bar scene and like becoming a bartender was like started chiropractic school. So I'm a full-time student. I'm usually taking roughly like 8 to 9 classes, and then I'm working like 30 to 40 hours a week. I was clocking in some hours between the two.
Sure. Well, I mean, it's tough to have a drinking career on top of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And
to be a kid,
Well, and the thing is, somehow I managed it for a couple of years though. Like, I was going out, I was barely getting any sleep. I was partying. My grades definitely took some they took a toll on some of my grades for sure.
They could have been better.
Exactly.
Right.
And then at some point, started working at HG Supply Co. in Lower Greenville. And what's really cool about that is I think the moment I started working there, I was no longer working at like a high volume sports bar, but also the people I worked with, they were not like these massive partiers. Like one, we're working at a restaurant that's like literally centered on health. Like HG stands for hunter gatherer. It's all of our food was like freshly sourced. Like we cooked in no seed oils. Even in like our own drinks, we used like our own infusions for them. So like we're not adding like all this like excessive sugar into things. And it actually became something that I was like kind of passionate about working for them. I was like, this is really cool what we're doing.
Right.
And like people can still drink and have a good time, but like it's healthier.
Sure.
And then at that point in time, I just, again, wasn't drinking like super heavily, but I was drinking. I'd go out with my friends and drink and, have a good time. And then I'd have like, always had a casual drink with dinner, always had a beer or a cocktail.
Right.
And, did the whole thing. And I actually, one of the main reasons why I kind of was not drinking as much. I got into a really healthy relationship. I was dating this guy who was awesome. Really,
Okay.
really good. Yeah, really good person. He really motivated me to like work on myself. But
Right.
what was kind of ironic though is the end of 2024,
Mm-hmm.
he pointed something out to me
Mm-hmm.
that I thought I was only aware of, but then I realized other people noticed it too, was
Okay.
that I had a very big lack of commitment when it came to making like health-centered choices for myself, you know,
Okay.
whether that was like starting 75 hard and not finishing, signing up for Pilates classes and only going for like a week or two.
Right.
I just didn't really have a lot of follow through when it came to my health.
Well,
And
let's be honest. It sounds like you jumped around in career wise too. You
yeah,
know,
definitely for sure. And you know, and the thing is,
you're not a stationary person. It's not in yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
But it kind of hit me a little hard though, because like I was
You're
aware
like,
that I didn't have commitment. Like
right.
I would like beat myself up about it, but like
You're like, I'm
yeah.
cool with knowing I'm a flake, but dude, if
Yeah.
he's calling me out, man,
And
this
then
is
as soon as he like pointed it out, I was like, this doesn't feel good.
right.
I was like, that really does not feel good. And it like really like kind of affected me, like how I was moving
Sure.
forward, because I was like, dang, like, do I really have no follow through? Like to the point where like, it's that noticeable that other people can see it,
Ah,
you know? And
okay.
like, again, it was like strictly on like health centered things, which that's something I've really struggled with my entire life, is like my weight and feeling confident in myself and like
Mm-hmm.
being healthy and being, especially coming from like such an athletic family.
Right.
And like, you know, I consider myself an athlete, but like there was so many times I like was like, man, I'm not that good. I'm not
Well,
that in
so
shape.
it seems like you kind of like came from a line of overachievers, so you automatically assume that on your shoulders, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, and I also like hold myself to pretty high standards as well. But it
Yeah,
was
of
funny because
course.
like I just wouldn't hold myself to high standards when it came to my health. Like I'd eat
Right.
bad, I would
Right.
drink, I would just like not work out or do the things that were like made me feel good, right?
Right. Well,
And
hey, real
then
quick,
yeah,
let's go ahead and take a break and we'll be right back.
Are you an old fool who's so cool like us? Funky Gold is a network of skilled and hardworking DFW DJs over 40. We gather to create a mutually supportive environment for all members who are doing big things. Our DJs are leaders in the community who bring special skills and opportunities to share. We strive for professionalism in the music business, and we have hearts of gold. Not to mention we have the coolest swag and the funkiest headquarters. If you're interested in learning more about joining the crew, connect with us on Instagram, YouTube, or Gmail at Funky Gold Network.
All right, and that is Funkgold Network. We love them. Be sure hit them up on Instagram. Also have some new tracks out, and here we go.
Know what I'm saying? I lose some real. I coming down in the cool feel. When I come around, it goes so slow. Beat up in the dance floor low. That's the bell below. The jackets ain't boring. Why skip the slam and I went straight to foreign. Sway when I come around, it goes so slow. Beat up in the dance floor low. That's the bell below. The jackets ain't boring. Why skip the slam when I went straight to foreign. Banging.
All right, and that is the new track out on Wiggle Room Records. They are actually out of Toronto. Love it. It's getting some airplay now. Be sure, if you're on Spotify or Apple Music, follow me, Kelly Reverb, or while you're there, follow the podcast too. It's called This Pink Cloud, and follow us on all the socials, and we're on all major streaming platforms. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, so you were talking about how you felt that you weren't committed when it came to health choices,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Okay, all right.
So, you know, I feel like again, like being in a health profession, especially, you know, like I'm literally about 2.5 months away from graduating with my doctorate, and
Oh,
like, yeah, so
congrats!
thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I'm almost there. So,
And I'm gonna get there, and right before I'm gonna quit.
right. No, exactly. Right. Exactly. No follow through.
Right.
But yeah, so it's kind of interesting, like my journey through not only like chiropractic school, but also like life. Like it's it was almost like it didn't really make sense. And I like the life choices I was making outside of school weren't really compatible with like this career choice I was going with. Cause in my mind, you know, I'm committing to like going into a career that's like meant to like help people facilitate healing and like put them on like a healing journey. Right.
Sure.
But like, was I doing that for myself outside of that? I didn't think I was, you know? And so him, like my ex-boyfriend ended up like kind of checking me a little hard on it. And he was really nice about it, but he was just like, hey, I don't know if do you notice that you do this? And I was like, ooh, yeah, I do.
Right.
Why did you have to tell me? Because now I have to like address this, you know? And so at that point, like I really like sat on it for a while. And leading up to that New Year's Eve, we ended up going out with a friend of mine and her boyfriend, and we went actually to Lower Greenville.
Okay.
And I went out to HG, which I worked at. We went to Millie on there, which is a little Red Room nightclub that I used to work at.
I love Millie.
Millie's great.
I have played there several times.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I had helped bartend there a few times here and there. And so when I went to all these places, it was places that like I worked. I knew the bartenders, I knew the managers, and everyone was like, hey, Jordan, here's a shot of tequila. Here's some champagne. Here's a Dos Equis, porn star martini, espresso martini. I mean, I drank probably every single thing.
Right. When I was going to say, like, you know, when you're a bartender and or DJ, you know, you that's one of the perks of the job is you get free stuff as you have access to the you know, the
service industry. Everyone helps everyone out type of thing, you know. And so I was going in there
shift
and
shot.
Exactly. And so, you know, that was not an uncommon thing, but like, so I'm like, you know, partying with my boyfriend, my friends and her boyfriend, and we're just like being handed so much alcohol, and me more so than anybody, because like people would like sneak away and be like, here's more for Jordan, here's more for Jordan. And so it kind of reached the point where like, when I look back at that night, there ends up being a very fuzzy moment where I don't remember leaving Millie. But I remember feeling really sick outside on the bench outside on Lower Greenville. And then the next thing I remember is like being at my boyfriend's apartment to go home. Like, so I don't remember the Uber ride there, nothing. Remember getting home, and we're getting ready to walk up the stairs to like his apartment. And I just got so sick. I like ran back down and I just threw up everywhere in his bushes, was just like not feeling good. Okay. And the next day I woke up and I was mortified because, and it's kind of funny because I don't think I've ever been embarrassed about like getting too drunk. That was never anything that like really bothered me. But in this situation, for some reason, it specifically bothered me because I felt like I ruined the holiday. Right. I felt like I wasn't actually able to like enjoy what the holiday was meant to be. It was like starting the new year. I was with my partner, who I was very excited to be with. It was our first New Year's together, and like we were having so much fun up into a point, and then I felt like, you know, me getting sick and like getting way too drunk kind of just like put such a bad taste in my mouth.
I was going to say, it's kind of scary to have missing time. I mean, trust me, I've been there before. There's some definite gaps of like, how did I get from point A to point B? You know, where you checked out, and that when that happens, it's a scary thing, man. It
is, and obviously, you know, I was with very like safe people who were taking care of me, but it just sucks because like,
fortunately,
because what if I wasn't, you know? And so that was the thing. Like, I woke up and like I was just like so upset because I was like, man, I really just like ruined this holiday. Like, that was not fun for any of us. Like, me getting too drunk is not fun. You know, because then the following day, the hangover was just atrocious. Like, I felt so awful. And I literally had like said to my ex-boyfriend at the time, and I was like, I'm done drinking. Yeah. And how many people have said that after getting too drunk?
Sure.
I'm never drinking again.
Never doing this again.
I'm never drinking again.
The famous,
And so I said that. So I said that to him, and he was like, yeah, okay. And I was like, no, like, I'm not going to drink again. I was like, that was awful. And like, it was really upsetting that like, I feel like I couldn't even enjoy the holiday with you because I got too drunk, you know? And so like, I kind of like said it to him. And he was like,
did he look at you and go, okay?
Yeah. He was like, sure. Like, yeah, Jordan, he's like, whatever you need to say right now, you say it.
You, Jordan, you be
exactly. And so in that moment, I was like, no, like, I'm done. Like, I was like, I'm not doing it. And like, I just think that like, in that moment, he obviously like didn't know how I felt internally, because he literally like I was like apologizing profusely. I was like, I'm so sorry. He's like, it's not a big deal. Like, he's like, people get too drunk sometimes, you know?
Sure.
Like, he didn't make it a big deal, but I really did feel like it was. And so, you know, fast forward like a month later, I hadn't been drinking, and we like went out with one of his friends to like dinner, and they like were like, oh, like, Jordan, like, what do you want to drink or whatever? And I was like, oh, I don't drink anymore. And he like looked at me and he was like, since when?
Right.
And I was like,
Who are you?
Yeah. And I was like, I told you that I'm not going to drink anymore after New Year's. And he was like, no, you didn't. And I was like, no, like, I promise you, like, I told you, like, the next morning, like, I'm not drinking. And he was like, you're being serious about that? Right. And I was like, yeah. I was like, because I told myself, like, I really sat and stewed on it. And I was like, what benefit does alcohol have for me? Like, genuinely, what benefit does it? Like, outside of it making things fun, right. Like, what benefit does it have, right? And I, like, was like, it's expensive. The hangover is awful. I don't bounce back like I used to. Right. And like, truly, is there any genuine health benefit, positive benefit from alcohol, like being in your system? Personally, I don't think so. Sure. And so like, I kind of thought about those things. And then I also thought, you know, again, like my lack of follow through when it comes to like committing to health, like centered decisions. I was like, this is something that I feel like would help me in multiple ways. Like one, I'd feel better. I'd spend less money. I also, you know, could like go and still do things without like getting too drunk or like I
well, and then you don't have to. I mean, I know it's the age of Uber, but then you also don't have to worry about the DUI and stuff like that. I mean, that's a scary, you know, the 2 and 10. Oh, you know.
No, it is. It's so scary.
I'm picking the back road. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's kind of funny because throughout this last year, I feel like I've learned like 2 really big lessons when it comes to like not drinking anymore. And like the first one is, so if you looked at my social media, you wouldn't know that I don't drink because like I go out with all my friends. I post videos of being out. I love a little mocktail. If a group of people do shots, I'll have a little Sprite back and I'll take a little shot of Sprite. Sure. You know, so I still participate. I go to music festivals. I go to
and
shows.
you're a bartender at
and
Boogie's.
I'm a bartender. Exactly.
At Boogie's, so like by the way, shout out Boogie's.
Shout out Boogie's.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. So like, you know, the lifestyle that I live, like no one would ever think that. And people who I've not had a personal conversation with don't know because I wasn't really posting about it. It was something I wanted to do for myself. So I didn't really want to talk about it online. So like, you know, all of this going on, like I'm still going out, I'm still being in these like social settings. Well, the big lesson that I learned, I was like, man, I have to like myself when I'm in these social settings out and sober. Right. Because a lot of the time, like people are like, they get self-conscious or they need a little liquid courage to like go on the dance floor or to talk to people and to be social. Yeah. And to me, like, I was like, man, I'm like self-conscious right now. Are people looking at me? Or like, I don't want to go and dance sober. Like, I don't want to dance. Like, it feels weird, like being and doing those things. Or like, I don't want to go and like talk to those people. Cause like, it's like, I'm self-conscious. Right. Sure. And so because I was like, I didn't want to miss out on still being able to like hang out with people and like go and do things. I really had to like really work on myself and make sure that like I like myself in these situations. So where like it really helped me build like a lot of self-confidence where like if I'm out with my friends and like we're dancing and having a good time, you know, I had to tell myself, I'm like, no one's actually looking at me. And if they are actually looking at me, they're probably not judging me. And if they are judging me, why does it matter? Right. Like I had to like go through that, like that thought process.
I like that I like that progression. No, that's good.
Yeah.
Because I mean, a lot of people and like what you're saying about the whole drinking and liquid courage and all that. So I call it like social lubricant, you know? And the thing is I feel you too, because, you know, as far as being a DJ, it's always easier to have one, or it's like, it's a slow night. Let's have a shot. Oh, wait.
Common.
We're slammed. Oh, let's have a shot.
Take a shot.
So, like in the industry period, it's just like so like the norm that it's a challenge to, you know, to
not participate.
Make that decision and then B, follow through with it, because then everybody's like, I mean, do you ever get the people that look at you and go, "Oh, I'm sorry"?
There's been a few times people have been like they're assuming they assume why I stopped. They assume something bad happened to me, and like that's why I stopped. Right. And you know, like not to say that's like a safe assumption, because I don't think it is anymore nowadays. Like I think there's so many reasons people don't drink. Right. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean something bad happened or whatever it might be. Like again, I had a bad experience, but it wasn't like detrimental. It was just something that I was like embarrassed about that initiated this decision. Right. Right. And so it's definitely interesting, the conversations I kind of have when it comes to like, because being behind the bar, especially now at Boogie's, everyone's always offering to buy me a shot. Like guests are, they're like, let me take a shot with me, take a shot with me, take a shot with me. And I literally am just like, oh, I don't drink. And they're like, here? And I'm like, ever.
Right.
And they're like, oh, and they were like, oh, okay. And they're like, will you take like a Sprite shot with us? I'm like, yeah, because like people still like the engagement of it.
Sure.
But to be honest with you, I've definitely had like way more of a positive response than negative by anyone. Like my coworkers are so supportive of it.
Right.
My friends are so supportive of it. Like I literally like can't sit here and tell you one person who's not supportive of it.
Right.
You know, and
Well,
that's like
and I
the really
think
cool part.
it's timely because, you know, it's dry January.
I know. So all my coworkers at Boogie's right now are actually not drinking.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They're all participating in dry January, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. That's crazy. Like, cause that wasn't even a thing when I was a kid. It
No.
was just like nobody really even thought of the health repercussions. It was just like such, you know, so commonplace for it to happen. It was like, well, why you signed up for the job? Why?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. It was a perk.
It was. Yeah. And that's been the one thing too, just like being able to like sit in and like be behind the bar and be around that environment and not be bothered by it. And like you had to like, and that's kind of leads into like my next part, I guess, is like, you know, I said I had learned like 2 big lessons. Like the one was like, I have to like myself enough to like go out in these type of social settings and like enjoy myself.
Right.
I also need to really like the people I'm with. Because if you're going to these social settings and like you don't actually like your friends or you don't like the people who you're socializing with and like everyone else is drinking around you and having like a really good time and you're stone cold sober, you're not going to have fun.
Right.
Like if you actually don't like them as like who their character is, like their morals and like who they are as a person, like you're just not going to have a good time. Right. Because like when you can get drunk with anyone.
Sure.
You can be drunk at the bar, be best friends with anyone. Who can you be sober around in those types of settings? Because it's like, I want to make sure that these people are like people that like, I enjoy their company. And like and when I say like, I don't want people who are around me who are embarrassing me, I'm not talking about like getting too drunk. I'm talking about like being mean people, not nice people. And like, they're having like poor character. Right. And so like, that's where I was like, dang, I really think it's important to like pay attention to like the people I have in my life and really, really make sure I put time and energy into the relationships that are very fulfilling to me. And it kind of almost made me like realize like, oh, there's some people I don't actually like hanging out with.
Right.
When we're out when they're out and they're drinking and having a good time, I'm like, do I actually like them? Because right now I'm not having fun with them like at all. And then there's other people who like, again, I will never shame anyone for drinking. I literally pay my bills from alcohol. Yeah. So like, I'm not going to hypocritically sit here and be like, don't drink, it's bad for you. And you're a bad person if you drink. Cause I don't feel that way. And like, I go with all my friends and never once have I ever pressured any of my friends to like not drink with me. I'm like, you guys have a good time. I'll even buy rounds of shots for my friends.
Right. Have one for me. Is what I always say.
Exactly. Yeah. And like, but it showed me that like the people I'm surrounding myself with are people I really, really like. And like, they make those types of social settings like so much more fun. Like when I go out dancing and I'm getting home at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. I had a great time. Like it was fun for me. And like, I also get to wake up the next day and feel perfectly fine. Might be a little tired, but like my body's not recovering so drastically.
Right. I have a question for you. A lot of people say, you know, and this is, I think, maybe a fear factor about people quitting or stopping drinking or abstaining or whatever you want to call it. But as far as like, you know, they say, oh, I'm going to lose my edge. I'm not going to be any fun. You know, that scenario, that was one of the first things that when I quit drinking, I was like, well, life's going to suck without alcohol. And I realized, I mean, for me, it wasn't, but what was your experience like?
It's funny you say that. Cause like, I also kind of was like, man, like, because it's slightly different because I actually, I think I'm a pretty like fun person. Like I could talk to a brick wall. Like I can literally, it doesn't matter what social setting I'm in. Like I'm a yapper, certified, true and true. I can talk to anyone and everyone. Hence why I'm a bartender. You know, but also like being in like a medical field, like puts me in a position where I have to talk to a lot of people. Right. So like my issue wasn't necessarily, I guess like the conversations, being able to talk to people and like be outgoing when drinking, because I already was outgoing. It was more so like I would be like, it kind of ties back into like the self-conscious thing, like how I was in settings. Like I would think about like, I'd be so much more self-conscious about like what I was wearing. And because when I would get so consumed with being self-conscious, that made me feel like I wasn't fun. Because then like, I feel like I couldn't let loose because I was so concerned about everything else, like around me and like all these other factors versus like enjoying.
Well, how did you deal with that then?
I think like a big part of it was kind of like this last year in general. I've really worked on just like, kind of being very present in moments and like being very intentional when I'm in them, as far as like, you know, going to dinner with friends or going out drinking or even at work, just like making decisions that like I'm proud of when it comes to myself. And then like also, again, I think it's really important who you surround yourself with. Like I've had such uplifting friends this last year, and not even just about the drinking, just like supporting me in my like chiropractic journey, supporting me in life, like building me up and making me feel good about myself. And then also like talking positively to myself. That's a big, I will say that is the biggest part in my opinion. If you sit here and you talk negatively to yourself and you're like, well, I look fat, or I don't look good, or this outfit looks bad, like that feeds so heavily into like the self-conscious.
You start believing it. Yeah,
you do. And then you just don't feel good anymore. And like the mind is so strong. Like the moment you start thinking positively and you start speaking positively to yourself, your body's going to react to that because it hears you and it feels you. Right. And I think that was like the big thing, is like, I really needed to like sit down and like tell myself, like, you look good, you look nice, like you're funny, you're cool, you're a nice person to be around. Like, why wouldn't anyone else feel that way? And so like the moment I stopped nitpicking myself, and even if I didn't believe it, I would say something positive, like this looks good, or you like, this is a good thing for you, or you're doing a good job. Then like, I feel like at that moment it was like fake it till you make it, but like to myself.
Sure.
You know? And so like that, I'm a big firm believer. Like you can ask like anyone in my life, like I'm a big believer in like positive self-talk, and that's like I preach it very heavily now.
I do well, I do like the you know, sometimes if I'm, you know, got a big gig or something, I'll listen to the meditation on the, you know, like the gratitude meditation, or the confidence or whatever, anxiety or whatever, just so I can kind of get myself in, you know, kind of like an athlete would.
You're prepping and getting ready, you know? And so like, I think that's like something people can practice like every day, you know, whatever it might be, like listening to music or just sitting there and literally like journaling to yourself or like talking out loud to yourself. Like, I think the moment you really start nitpicking yourself and like being negative and having a negative viewpoint on like who you are as a person, whether that's like physically, mentally, all of the above, I feel like we're all our hardest like critic. You know, we're all our biggest critic. We're all our biggest judge.
100%.
And I feel like the moment you stop doing that to yourself and start giving yourself a little grace and a little leeway, you start to like yourself more. And then guess what? Like that's going to lead into, you don't need to be under the influence in order to like yourself and be out in a social setting, because you're already going to like yourself enough that like, why would I not go out to a social setting?
How long would you say that window of adjustment was for you from going to, you know, partying to dry, you know?
To be honest with you, my adjustment maybe took a little bit longer than I was expecting, because so I decided in January 1st to be sober. I actually got dumped in March, about 2 weeks before my birthday.
Okay.
And then in April, I started my clinical internship. Okay. So this last year has actually been, in my opinion, one of my hardest years. I did not like 2025. I did not have a good time.
Okay.
It was just like a very hard year for me emotionally, getting out of a very happy relationship that just, you know, it just ended. There was no like necessarily like big reason for it. But it was very like, it still was very like hurtful. Right.
Sure.
And then, you know, right before my birthday made it a little bit worse. And then going into clinic was like a big transition of like, now I see patients Monday through Fridays, and like I'm caring for people. Right. Which is like a lot more responsibility on my shoulders, which I've absolutely loved it. It's been phenomenal. But with that being said, it's like a lot of pressure of like getting my licensing exams taken care of, getting all my like clinic requirements done and my graduation requirements done. Also dealing with like the heartbreak of like a breakup and like trying to like work through that, you know? And so ironically, I kind of said this in my video I posted on Instagram, was like 2025 was probably the year that I wanted to drink the most, and I didn't. Because of all these different factors I went into it. And again, like when all those negative things kind of happened, it was like very much so internalized, where I was like very hurt by it. And therefore like I thought something was wrong with me. Right. And so it probably took me a couple months, like towards like the middle of the year, where I finally started sitting with myself and I was like, you know, I'm kind of cool. I kind of like myself. Like, it's kind of weird if people don't like me, you know? Cause I was like, I'm nice.
What's wrong with them?
I know. Right. Because I was like, you know, I'm a nice person. I'm caring. Like I was like, I really like want what's best for people in life. Like I don't try to make selfish decisions as much as possible. And like, I was like, I'm literally in a profession that like, I want to give back to people. Right. And so when I really started sitting through with that, and like, I also started really believing in myself as like a chiropractor, as a doctor, and like really like saw like improvement that I was like making in the lives of others, it really made me like reflect on myself. And I was like, man, like it's not going to be sustainable for me to keep pouring into others and helping people get better and healthier if I'm not doing it for myself.
Right.
And that was probably like the big shift, was like when I was doing patient care and I was like, I need to walk the walk. I can't just talk to these people, you know, because like they're going to see right through that. If like I'm telling them to do all these things for themselves and like I can't even do anything for myself.
Right.
So I think when all that happened, I like really started like sitting with myself, and I also was like really proud of what I was doing though, because I was making some really good impacts on people's lives. And so at that point in time, I was like, you know what, like I'm doing really cool things.
Right.
And like I should like myself during this. And so just kind of like really this journey of becoming like a practitioner and a doctor has really built my self-confidence. And it's also allowed me to kind of like really like fall into like who I really genuinely think I am as a person, and embrace the really positive sides and aspects of me. And then also like be accepting of the ones that maybe are not my favorite, but like it doesn't mean something's wrong with me.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like if you think you're perfect, then you know, it's
you're
like,
not.
Right. By the way.
Yeah. So it's really just been like I would say it's definitely not like, it's a very up and down journey, very up and down. Like you have super high highs, super low lows. By no means is it going to be like a linear journey by like at all. And I think that's like my word of advice to people, like if they're like considering going sober or considering just making any decision when it comes to their health that like maybe seems a little difficult.
Right.
Failure is not a bad thing. You know, everyone has it. And truth be told, is like the most growth you're ever going to have in your life is going to be right after you fail something.
Right.
You know, it's not going to be after you succeed.
Well, and I can say this. I don't mean to interrupt you, but
you're fine.
As far as like drinking, the thing is I grew up with it. You know, like kind of like how you started. You know, I started when I was 16 because it was just like they didn't care. It was you know, and so it was just part of the landscape, and I had never given myself a chance, so I didn't even know what it was like to function, you know, without alcohol. So
Exactly.
And then having that little window, I'm like, you know, I get along better with my wife. You know, I seem to make better decisions, you know, and it's, you know, my bank account reflects it. You know, there's all these like, and that's what I say to a lot of people, you know, like, hey, if you think there's a problem, chances are there is a problem. Yeah. You know, and then I just say like a real simple exercise is make a pros and cons list. You know,
always write it down.
Yeah, and it's going to be your pros list is going to be I have fun. And then your cons list is going to be like, you
all
know,
those other aspects, you know?
Yeah. So.
No, I 100% agree with you. And so it's been like such a cool thing to like see, you know, the positive impacts in my life. And then also just like the responses I got from posting that video were really cool. It was a lot more responses than I was expecting to get, to be honest.
Well, you're on this show.
Hey, I know. I'm very excited about it. But it's cool. The people I've had like personal messages asking like, hey, when does it get easier? Or like, do you have any like, like,
what do you say to that?
Personally, I told him, I was like, every person's journey is going to be so different. And I was like, as hard as it seems right now that it doesn't feel like it's ever going to get easier, I was like, it really is. I was like, you just have to make the active choice that like, you're doing this for yourself. You're not doing this for someone else. And I feel like when you decide that like, this is for me, then decisions become easier, because like you should want to choose yourself.
Right.
You know, like you should want to do things for yourself. Like as nice as it is to be selfless and to want to do things for others, like you should ultimately want to like make yourself healthier, make yourself happier, and make decisions that like resonate with
you. Like, I mean, you know, without sounding too preachy, but improve the quality of your life.
Exactly. You know? And, you know, it's not selfish to want to do that. And more people should want to do those things, you know?
Right.
Like obviously, as long as you're not making decisions that are like hurting other people,
right? And I just say also that it's not unicorns and rainbows when you don't drink. Yeah, because like you said, you had a horrible year sober.
Yeah, and like I think, and the funny thing is like going into 2026, like I'm so excited for this year. So like last year in my 20s, I turned 29 in March. So it's like, it's the year I'm becoming a doctor. It's the year I'm turning 29. It's the year I'm moving to Austin for a job opportunity post-graduation. So like all these really, really cool things are happening for this year. And even though like 2025 just like felt really rough and hard, and it just like wasn't necessarily ideally what I wanted, going into 2026, like I feel even like more secure in my decision to like not drink. And like I'm going into what I consider like a good year, a celebratory year. And like I don't necessarily feel the need still to like incorporate it into my life, honestly, ever. And it's just, again, like something I really enjoy, being present in the moments and like being able to actually enjoy experiences with my friends versus like having like that brain fog the next day or feeling gross or even like blacking out and not remembering it, Like I like that I can look back at this year and I can remember every single time I went out with my friends and every single like part of the night and like really get to enjoy the fact that like I spent such a good time with quality people, and it's memories that I can take with me like forever,
Yeah, no, I love it. And then I'm assuming your brother is somewhat abstinent, like at least during the training periods, right?
Yeah, I mean, Bo's never been a drinker, to be honest with you. Even when he turned 21, it was like never a big thing for him because he does prioritize like his athletics so much in his career.
Sure.
That it's something that has never been, I think, like a big interest to him.
Right.
I'm not gonna say my brother's never taken like drink or anything, but the thing is like he definitely was like. He was the pros and cons list. He's the type of person to definitely weigh something like that out and be like, there's not a lot of pros to this. Like, why would I do it? And he's just at a different level of like competition than most people. So it's like those small things matter. And like, that might be considered like what you saw, like a small thing, like having like a beer at dinner or something like that. Like that could be like the difference between him like really reaching like a peak level versus like not being able to, right?
Right. Well, I mean, it gets to like decision like, oh, do I have dessert or no? Right.
And I think like a big helpful part is my sister-in-law is actually a registered dietitian. So
okay. Wow.
Yeah. So she's actually like very intel. She's actually she was a heptathlete at Penn State, and she was a Big Ten champion. So she's also she's a beast. She's like
nice
5'10", 5'11", like 6-pack beast girl. Like my sister-in-law is like one of the most like badass women I've ever met, like constantly educating herself and learning. She's a mom of 2. And I mean, like she was like fully pregnant doing like cleans and deadlifts in the gym,
Right.
So yeah. So like between her and my brother, like they're very
just
inspiring.
Make sure one doesn't pop out.
Exactly. Right. But between the two of them, they've been very like they're very
well, they complement each other as well.
They do.
Yeah.
It helps that they're also just like awesome people,
Yeah.
Like regardless of like me being related to them, I actually like them. So that helps.
Yeah, right.
But it's been, my family's been like super supportive in all of this as well, which has been really nice. And just like overall, like I can't say enough good things about you deciding to like not drink anymore, to be honest with you.
Sure. Well, I've got like, so if somebody is out there and they're curious, is there any advice that you would pass on from your experience?
Yeah, I would say when it comes down to it, like jump off the deep end on a decision like this, because if it's something you keep sitting on the fence about, you're just probably never going to do it. And until you like actively make the decision, it's the first step, right? Like making that first step and making the decision to do it, like that's where you start. And a big thing that like I felt was really beneficial is, they always tell you like have accountability partners. I was my own accountability partner. I actually felt like by me going and telling people that I was being sober and like actively trying to like tell people and be like, hold me accountable. I feel like it took the accountability out of my hands because I was like, I want to do this for myself. I don't want to do this because like someone's telling me I should, or like I feel guilty because
I love that you said that, because like whenever somebody comes to me and talking to me about a relative or somebody like that, oh, he's got a real bad problem, I go, look, the one thing I can't do is make that person want it, and the thing is you have to want it for yourself. And that's one of the big things is like, you can do the pros and cons list, but if they don't want it, they're not going to do it.
And that's exactly it. And that's where like I am again a firm believer in when it comes to decisions like this is like you have to want to do it for yourself. You can't want to do it for someone else. You can't want to do it because like society makes you feel like you want to, or like you feel guilt-ridden to like stop drinking, right? It has to be something that like you consciously like make the decision to do it every single day when you wake up and every single night when you go to bed. You think you're like, hey, I pat yourself on the back. You did a great job. You got through the day. Right. And like, I genuinely think you should take it one day at a time. And I also think that if for some reason you make the decision to do something and then you don't have a follow through with it, don't beat yourself up about it. You know, like there's nothing wrong with trying again. Again, failure doesn't mean you
Sure.
actually, like having a failure does not mean you are a failure.
Yeah, I just say it's part of the process.
Exactly. And again, like I think like you should be your own accountability partner when it comes to like genuine decisions that you want to make for yourself. Because again, someone telling you to do it or like holding you accountable and like guilt making you feel guilty about it, I really don't think that's going to lead you to success in the long run. I think the moment you make the decision like, hey, I actually care about this decision and like I want to do it, you're actually not going to feel guilty, you're not going to feel bad, and you're actually going to have a way easier time doing it because like you want to.
Yeah.
You know, so that would be like my biggest advice again is like you don't need an accountability partner, you're your own accountability partner, and like the moment that you realize that, it'll make your decision way easier.
Right. Well, and you know, you seem to be a strong-headed and have a healthy amount of mental fortitude to where you know you make your mind up and you do something. You know, but you know, like to people out there that might not have as strong of a mindset. I mean, there's always programs out there, and I always, you know, and there's no shame in going to an AA meeting. I find them highly entertaining. That's one of the reasons why I started this show is because I would hear these stories and I would go, my God, I want to ask that person 20 questions right now.
Yeah, because you're going to hear some really cool stories from people. And I think that's also the thing is like, you know, as much as I say like, be your own accountability partner, that doesn't mean you can't, that doesn't mean you can't talk to people about it. Right. Like if there's things you're struggling with and you're having a really hard time, like making a decision for yourself, like I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, go tell someone to be like, hey, if I'm not doing this, get on to me. I don't think that's great. But let's go talk to someone about like, hey, I'm really struggling with these. And then let's be like, why are you struggling with this? You know, like, let's talk about your feelings. And I feel like with the moment you are able to like openly express your feelings, talk about something, you can move on from it and like keep making decisions that like benefit you and like just keep the ball rolling, you know?
Right. And I'm a huge proponent for therapy as well. So, you know, you can always have that built in, sounding board. But then also, you know, if you want to check out the program, it's cool because there is a built-in community already.
Absolutely.
You know, so you're just not freestyling.
Well, the thing is too is like your mental health and your physical health go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other, you know? You can't be super mentally healthy and physically unhealthy. Like it just doesn't really balance each other because like they have such a great impact on each other. So it's like as much as you can make the decision to like maybe do something for yourself physically to work on your health, if you're not doing the same thing for yourself mentally, like it's going to be really contradictory at some point in time and it's going to be a lot harder for you. And so that's the other thing is like when you go and make decisions, like think about both those aspects like when making decisions to make sure they're aligning with each other because like that's going to make it easier for you if they're aligned.
Yeah, I agree. And I love this, because I consider you a younger person. You're younger than me, at least.
Thank you. I actually appreciate it. I prefer that.
Right. But I think it's cool because this is stuff when I was growing up or whatever, that nobody even talked about. It was just like, it wasn't as commonplace. Like there was no dry January. There was no, all this sober movement is what I call it. Yeah. And I love it that, people are being more conscious and taking, a more conscious approach. Because I mean, let's be honest, there's a lot of marketing out there that, brainwashes you, whether you want to realize it or not, And the thing is I just like I say, if you think there's a problem, chances are there is a problem.
Exactly.
And what's 30 days going to hurt, to at least explore what sober you is like, I mean,
exactly. You might really like them.
Yeah, exactly. They might not be such an asshole after all.
Yeah, they might be really cool, actually. You might really, really like them.
Right. That's funny. Well, I appreciate you coming on. And then I guess if anybody, obviously, they can go see you at Boogie's. But if somebody wants to talk to you about, about this, are you cool with the DM?
I would absolutely love that. My Instagram, I know you're going to probably tag me in it, but it's Jordan Nickal 5, JordanManickal with the number 5.
Okay, I'll be sure and put that in the description.
Yeah.
And then if you get some random person, it's not my fault.
No, I love that. I prefer it.
Yeah,
So
right.
please, if you want someone to talk to, I will be an unbiased friend for you in any type of situation.
Nice. Well, and then anybody you'd like to shout out?
I just want to say like a big thank you to just like my family, you know, being so supportive during all of this, as well as like my friends. I genuinely don't think I could have like felt like good throughout this last year without like their support and everything, with like things being hard, and they really built me up so then I can maintain that and like really feel good about myself going into 2016 or 2026.
Right. That made me think like that, you know, it could have been, if you drink, you know, if you were drinking, it could have made it a lot worse.
I absolutely agree with that 100%. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, super thankful for like my family and friends who've been like such great supports to me. I mean, they've always been a great support system, but in particular this last year.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for coming on, and I'm sure I will see you at the Boogies soon.
Hey, you know where to find me, behind the bar.
Exactly. And we will have a liquid death together.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks again for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Be sure hit her up. Hit me up if you need any help. I'm always open to share my experience and hopefully help somebody. And be sure like, subscribe, all that good stuff, because it helps the channel and it helps us spread the word. But anyway, remember, kids, there is no magic pill for sobriety, because if there was, we would all take too many.